Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Oseo Jo, Jakuta, and Yansan Shango no Yade. Um, Welcome. Episode 2, The Spiritual High Five. Today, again, another great day. Pray that everybody out there is doing well, that all your families are doing well. And today I'd like to talk about, again, it being Shango and Oyade, sort of some of the attributes of Shango, particularly Oya as well, but particularly Shango. Or Jakuta, the one who fights with stones, wins with the stones. And so some of the attributes of Shango are the king, and a lot of different sort of offshoot branches of traditionalism. Shango is really, I guess, period across the board. Shango, whether it be Isheshe or any other, offshoot of Isheshe, Shango is always looked at as the one that all the men want to be, the one with the prowess. He has a lot of ladies. He's a dancer. He's a drummer. He could sing. Of course, obviously for his great strength, the thunderclap, fire, all of these great attributes. And I'd like to talk about some of the other attributes that are not so machismo based, like discipline and growth. Of when I was a child, I played with toys. When I became a man, I put the toys down. So obviously, as I'm sort of speaking from a masculine perspective a bit, but technically, it's the moral of the story obviously applies to men and women alike. But this one definitely I want to sort of bring to the men again. Why? Because here we are. Everybody is in doing self-isolation. Some places are actually under quarantine. Some places have curfews. Stores have lines. There's food rationing, which is really weird. I've never experienced that in my life, at least in my lifetime thus far until now. I can't say never. And being that I'm experiencing it, certain types of training and meditation and different things that I've learned and been taught over the years, now I'm in a position where I'm actually able to put a lot of that stuff to use. And I thank all of my teachers, the ones that I know in person, the ones that I've learned through the books that you've written, the time and the dedication that you've used. And obviously, I want to give thanks to Mount Ori for discernment and wisdom and being able to put the pieces together. So when I'm talking about Shango, why I'm mentioning stuff like discipline and growth and putting down the toys, to pick up the tools of a man is because outside of him being a person that people know for the more common reasons, Shango went through a very tumultuous time at one point in his existence where him being a king, he really felt like he just had it all. He had it all down pat. He had it all understood. And it got to a point where he sort of dealt with hubris. He started smoking you know, his own ideas too much. He started really believing too much exclusively in himself. And he started taking the creator, taking Orumila, taking the other Risha, taking even his own townspeople and his subjects out of the picture. And he thought that he was an island. And he didn't make sacrifice at a point when he was told to. And his town began to suffer because of it. The crops didn't grow. The animals became really lean. They weren't producing new offspring. The women weren't delivering babies. The women that were pregnant. And it began to be like a general kind of unrest. And Shango became really despondent at a point. And he fell really, really way down in how he felt about himself. Because he thought, man, he was riding so high and now he is being brought so low. He started to have negative thoughts about himself. There was a point where eventually he ended up going for divination and doing the Ebo, and he was told that he had to make Ifa initiation. When he went into the sacred grove and he came back out, so when he went into Igbodu, he was one way. When he came back out of Igbodu, he came out a changed person. He came out transformed. And it's very important because a lot of the stuff that he did, a lot of the wasting of time that he used to do, a lot of the sort of garrulous language that he would use and the brash behavior, he put all of that stuff away. And he became more upright. And he realized that, yo, I gotta, if I'm the king, I have to really operate from that place to the best of my ability. And in his case, that's what he did. And so why do I mention this today on this Shango Day? Because especially for us as the men, it's funny to be, for some to have the conversation about, how many women they have, how many cars they have, and how many of this or that they have. But yet they won't choose to spend time with their children. They don't have time for that. They prefer to be hanging out with their people on their social devices or getting high or drunk or doing different things. That's women's work. Let her deal with the kids. And that's not really 100% the way it's supposed to be. You get these guys that'll go and they'll say, oh, well, I make money. So I can have a bad attitude. I can speak disrespectfully to people because I make money, because I have these things. No, that's not really true. And for the men this day, on this Shango Day, and for people in general, I would like us to really call on the spirit of Shango to help us to refine, to help us to level up and raise the bar within ourselves, to help us to really be more balanced and subdue our passions more and really focus a lot more on the things that are really important. It took Shango going and having negative experiences, going into Igbodu, being initiated fully into Ifa, coming back out for him to realize, how he had to live, where he erred at, what he was doing wrong. And we can't be afraid of that. We can't be afraid of instruction or correction, because how else do we learn? And a lot of the time, if we offend ourselves or we offend others, because sometimes we could offend our own Ori through our actions, and our Ori will fight against us. We'll deal with confusion, anger, upset, all kinds of foolishness will be going on in our lives. It isn't just that the outward expression of offending others, but that too. But I noticed there's like sort of 3 phases that people go through on their path to discovery when they realize, right? So the first is the realization. Oh, I made a mistake. The second of those is that people sometimes wrestle with themselves inside about how they feel about the mistake they made. Sometimes their ego might want to try to overpower them and to say, no. I don't need to apologize. I don't need to whatever. It's okay. It's somebody else's fault. If they didn't do that, I wouldn't have done this, and so on and so forth. These kinds of things happen. But when we're able to wrestle our mind and subdue our mind, then we can go to the third stage, which is actually making the amend. Going to the person and saying, it's okay, I apologize. Even if it is ourselves, if we realize that we maybe wasted too much time or that we are more of a lackadaisical kind of person, it's okay if you look at somebody else's life and say, wow, their life is doing well. What am I doing wrong? Right? Not I'm upset at that person's life. I admire what they're doing. How do I make my own version of that for myself so that I can have whatever my destiny is? Not their destiny, my own destiny. So, and then we're able to do that, things are able to get much better. So again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Happy Shango Day. It's also Obakai Temple Day today, this Saturday. please, you can come check us out at www.obakaitemple.org and keep rocking and rolling on our radio. May your road be cool. Keep having a great day and a great life, everybody. Odabo.